Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another Mr. Nightmare. This one's titled Fall Horror Stories. 3 disturbing true fall horror stories, to be exact. All right, I'm excited. This was actually suggested to me by, chicken fajitas. Well, not so chicken fajitas. This was actually suggested to me by oh my God. I am so sorry. That was gross. My bad. I do apologize. All right. Like I was saying, this was actually suggested to me by a subscriber. I am excited because honestly, I didn't even see it. Like I actually had to look for it. I don't know why. Like normally I'll just go through and I can pull up all the videos and they're there. You know how YouTube is. I actually had to look for it. Like actually look for it. I don't know. My YouTube's been acting weird. Anyone else having that problem? Like you've watched something, but then you go back in and it's like you never watched it for some odd reason. That's really starting to fuck with me too because I don't remember half the shit that I've watched on here. Fuck it. It's YouTube. We learn to live with it, I reckon. All right. I'm excited to get into today's story. It's that time of season. Let's get a little creepy. I mean, I'm ready to get my nipples all hard from being scared shitless. So let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cut up something special. Let's get horrified. Story 1.
It was October 1st. That fresh autumn breeze was in the air. It felt like fall, my favorite season. It was my boyfriend Carter and I's first fall living together in our new home.
Okay.
I wanted to surprise Carter by decorating the place with fall and Halloween-themed decorations before he got home from work one day. I thought it would be cute. I bought a few things from a nearby Marshall's and a few other stores, and I also looked on different apps and websites, most notably Facebook Marketplace. I simply typed in fall decorations, and one listing really caught my attention. It was a picture of a big green plastic container, which contained a bunch of fall decorations. I clicked on it for more details, and more or less it said everything must go, entire container of fall-themed decorations for sale for cheap. The price was only $20. It was a steal if that entire big container was full of decorations.
Is it a body?
At the bottom of the ad, it also said, selling other stuff, clearing out house, everything must go. Check my profile. So I clicked his profile and looked at some of the other listings he had. There was a weird assortment of things this guy was selling. An allegedly new iPhone for $700, a few articles of women's clothing, and Christmas decorations. There were others, but I didn't go through all of them. The profile itself was kind of low-key. Everything was private. The man's name was Cody, and his profile picture was a close-up of a gray trucker's cap on a guy's head, but his face was covered by the brim of the hat.
That's
The cover
weird.
photo was a blurry photo of a lake.
See, I don't trust things like that. Look, I'm not saying I have to see your face, but whenever you're trying to make it seem like you're keeping it personal and legit, but yet you're still got like a little bit of shadiness to it. Like, oh, this is creepy. Don't do this. Be like, you know what I mean? Like to me, that's just like you're trying to let people think that you are open but when in actuality you're not. I don't know. I don't trust a lot of things like that. Like the internet is an amazing place to go. You can find anything you want. You can do some crazy ass shit on there, as I say all the time in my videos. If you want, to join in on the crazy and subscribe, because the internet's full of crazy shit. We do videos on it all the time. To me, it's just something about someone putting their face up without actually putting their face up. Man, I'd rather you just put up like my thing. It's like my emblem. At one time, I had my actual face on there, and then another time, I had like a cartoon figure of my face, but you actually seen me. To me, this is just a little on the shady side. You know what I mean? It's trying to be personal, but yet you're not. And I don't, it's not that I don't trust it, it's just I don't like it. And if I don't like it, I don't trust it. It makes sense? Does that? Mm-hmm.
I messaged the profile and he replied instantly. I asked what kind of decorations were in the container, and he said all sorts. Tableware, outdoor decorations, etc. So I excitedly told the man I would come by them today if he were available. He confirmed he would be around later on, closer to 9 p.m., as that's when he'd get home from work. He sent me an address. I looked up the address on Google Maps Street View. It was not in the best town, honestly, but the house looked completely normal. 2 cars in the driveway in the Street View picture, lawn kept nice. So I agreed to meet. I had my friend Sally come with me just to be safe. I went to pick up Sally across town, and we were...
So it's 2 women going. Look, I am all about equal opportunity and everything else, and there's nothing out there I believe men can do that women can't, other than writing our names in the snow. And even then, if you all try hard enough, you probably could. I mean, that's just how that is. But there's certain instances, like, if it's 2 ladies going to the shady end of town, meeting someone they don't know, in like the ghetto you go type shit, take a dude. And I'm not saying that in a sexist way, but it's less likely someone's going to try to take you and assault you in some way, shape, or form if there's a dude next to you. It's sad but true. Don't judge me. I'm just a messenger. I wouldn't trust it. Like if either one of those girls, if they are both girls, I don't remember. I don't remember. They would not be going without me there. Not that they couldn't handle themselves, but with a dude there, 9 times out of 10, you don't have to handle yourself. I don't trust none of this. Too many damn red flags for my taste. It'd been done and over. Abort mission. Houston, we have a problem.
We're off to this Cody person's house.
Fuck
it was
Cody.
A half-hour drive. Sally and I had some time to catch up on the drive there. When we got off the highway entering the town that the house was in, Sally started half joking around about how sketchy the area was. I say half joking around because I know she was saying that partially to be funny and make light of the situation, but also nervous. Because everyone just kind of knows this really isn't the best town. It was dark out though, so honestly we didn't see much besides streetlights, traffic lights, and some storefronts. As we got closer, I saw my phone screen turning on as it vibrated in the cup holder of my car. At the next light, I checked my phone and saw that it was messages from Cody on Messenger. He said, "When you get here, you can come right in."
Nope.
I showed it to Sally and she said, "What the hell?" We both could agree that that was a bit uncomfortable and that we'd ring the doorbell anyway. We pulled up to the house.
Red flag.
Surprisingly, there were no cars in the driveway.
Red flag.
There were dim lights on in the house, though, that could barely be...
How many fucking flags have to be out on the play before you realize that this is dangerous? There is 32 and a half red flags on the field right now. See, right there, 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 and fuck that door. Too damn many red flags. Bro, I'm telling you, just turn the fuck around. Go the fuck home. Period. Fuck. It's fine.
He's seen through the closed blinds of the windows.
I got to pay attention
Cody
where I put
back
my hands.
saying, "We're here. Can you come to the front?" Sally and I both watched the house as I waited for a response. And then we both noticed at the same exact time, at one of the windows, the blinds slightly shift, indicating someone was watching us through them. Then, just as quickly as we noticed it, the opening in the blinds closed. A few seconds later, the front door opened, and Cody messaged me back saying, "I'm at the door, you can come in." It was a bit of an unsettling situation, and I was just happy I brought Sally along. The 2 of us got out of my car and walked closer to the front door. Before getting too close, I called out Cody's name a few times, only to get no response. Sally whispered we should leave. I took a few steps closer and said "Cody" one more time really loud, and there was no response. I turned and whispered, "Let's go," and we started walking back to the car.
Run.
And suddenly, I heard a guy say, "Hey, yes, I'm here, inside." We turned and saw a man at the doorway, but only about half of him. He was like peering only half of his body around the door. He waved us inside. Sally and I cautiously turned back and started walking back to the door. As I got closer, he fully opened the door, but then also walked out of view. We walked up the steps and into the house, keeping the front door open.
Why?
Right away got hit with a strong scent, like that cotton scent from an old person's house mixed with something very unpleasant. We heard fast and heavy footsteps moving away into another room, followed by his voice saying, "It's over in here, come here."
Nope.
His voice was freakishly deep, like it was intimidating. I made sure Sally was right by my side before entering the adjacent.
Come into this bedroom of mine. I promise nothing's going to happen to you.
Bro, these bitches be stupid. I done been gone. I'm brave. I'm not that brave, but I'm brave. Like, I know how to punch a motherfucker in the face. I know how to punch him in the throat. And I know if worst case scenario, would kick him straight in the fucking dick. My mama taught me how to fight. Boob punch or dick kick. One or the other. I'm telling you right now, these bitches are going to die. I done been gone. Fuck that. Like, if I'd been there, I'd be like, look, I'm just going to leave the money here on the porch. I need you to slide that bucket out to me. If you can't do that, then I'm going to pick up my money. Actually, you know something? Just keep the money. I'm out. Fuck you. I'm out. Suck a dick, Hemi.
Room. We were faced with a very weird sight. A dimly lit living room with a depressing pinkish red carpet and really old looking furniture. But the smell in this room was putrid. It smelled like actual death. In the middle of the room was a red container with a green lid on top of it. There was this Cody man standing just over the container. This was the first time I got a good, clear look at the man, and he was not a friendly-looking man. He invited me over to come open the container. I took note of that. This container was not the same color as the green container that was in the picture on the Facebook ad. It also was a completely different shape from the looks of it. I asked him to open it.
It's going to be your coffin. He's going to cut you up into little pieces, put you in there, turn you into soup. I've seen some things. I've watched YouTube.
Himself, and he said, "Well, you're no fun." That comment already had Sally and I inching backwards in the direction of the front door. But when he lifted the lid off the container and we were suddenly blasted with another putrid smell, we turned for the door and left in a hurry without looking back until we got to the car. Sally kept telling me to hurry up. By the time my car was on, all I know is the front door to the house was already closed. I don't know if he was watching us through the window again. We were gone very quickly. We never actually saw what was in that container. It was definitely not decorations, though. After telling Carter about all of this, he asked for the address of the place, and I told him not to go there. He assured me he wouldn't, he just wanted to look up the house, so I gave it to him. The next day, he returned home later than usual from work, and he told me he stopped by the house, and an older woman answered the door, insisting that she lives there alone. He knew I wasn't lying though, because I showed him all the Facebook messages with the guy, which included the address. Upon looking up the records of that address, it does list the owner as a woman in her late 60s. This was an incredibly disturbing and unexplainable experience. From now on, when buying stuff online, I avoid going to people's houses.
No shit. Meet at Walmart like everyone else. Be fucking normal. Dumbass.
It was 2019 when this happened. I remember specifically because it was the year I was living on my own in Asheville, North Carolina. I moved here for a temporary job, and it was an excuse for me to live on my own for the first time.
That's always fun.
I was 22 years old and just out of college. I had an apartment in downtown. I could walk to most things I needed, but I also had my car for when I wanted to branch out or venture out of town. The thing I loved about Asheville and North Carolina in general was the sheer amount of hiking trails. I'd been to many around town, but one I hadn't been to was DuPont State Forest. One day I decided to go. The drive was just under an hour from Asheville. It was a random Wednesday in October. The leaves were starting to change, and it was the perfect time for a hike. I didn't have work that day, and it being a work day for everyone else, it meant I'd probably have the trails all to myself. I got to the parking area for the park, and I found where one of the trails began. I walked for a while, and the trail was serene. I was the only one out there that day. It was a cloudy day, and we'd been getting a lot of rain that week, which was more of a reason I wanted to go, because the trail would lead to some nice waterfalls called Triple Falls and High Falls, and the waterfalls would be more impressive after a few days of rainfall. I only had to hike about 0.4 miles before getting to the Triple Falls, which was a really cool sight. A little piece of trivia, a scene in the Hunger Games was filmed at this waterfall.
Really?
I took
That's
a few
cool
videos
shit.
and pictures as I sat on a rock for a bit. I noticed a woman in the woods on the trail. She was looking at me. I waved
Blair
at her,
Witch style?
trying to be polite. Then she just turned around and slowly walked deep.
You lost, fool. Why you out here in the woods, old lady? Most old ladies are cat ladies and they live in the city where the cats are. Why you in the woods? Why you by yourself? Are you the Blair Witch? We have answers. You have questions. No, we have questions. Do you have answers? Got it. Sometimes my brain goes dumb.
Deeper into the woods until she was out of sight. Not really something I gave a second thought to. Anyway, I wasn't tired yet.
I would be. Like if I was next to that waterfall, oh Lord, I would have to like lean up against a tree, take me a little nap. I don't know what it is about waterfalls, but just sitting here watching it, you can tell my eyes are starting to get a little on the heavy side.
I had literally just started
Fucking love
hiking,
waterfalls.
so I didn't sit for too long. I got up and headed back to the trail. I didn't want to try climbing the rocks of the waterfall because they were incredibly slippery. I continued to ascend up the trail and eventually came to the higher point of the falls called High Falls. I took a few more videos and pictures here and sat on another dry rock for a bit. I swear I felt a sense of deja vu when I saw that woman again in the woods by the trail. Once again, she was staring me down. I didn't wave this time. I instead looked down at my phone, pretending not to notice or care. I couldn't help but glance up after like 10 seconds.
I'd stare back
Now
at
she
her.
was gone. If I had to guess, the woman was like 55. She had short,
Oh, you can
grayish
take her.
blonde hair from the looks of it. But
can
again,
take her.
she was pretty far away, so this was all just what I saw of her from a distance. I didn't see which way she went, but whatever way it was, I wanted to go the opposite. I kept walking the direction I'd been walking.
How the fuck? If you didn't see which way she went, how the fuck you gonna know which way's the opposite? Come on now, fool. What's wrong with you? It's a 55-year-old lady. How much damage can she do to a young person like that? Especially if she's living out in the woods. I don't know. She living out in the woods, man. She might be like swinging from trees like a fucking monkey. Hunting around like a fucking wolf. Hell, she might be dangerous. Yeah, I'd run. Fuck it. Never mind. Ignore everything I say. This 55-year-old lady's a beast.
And eventually came to another landmark of the
Bite ya.
trail, the covered bridge. I once again stopped here to take a
No. If this old lady pops up on the bridge, she's a demon and you need to kill it.
scenic video and a few photos. I drank a bit of my water and then looked at the end of the bridge from the side I had just walked from. I saw that woman. I swear I didn't see her there before I started taking videos and pictures. I also didn't hear anyone walking behind me. She was once again staring right at me as if I were doing something wrong. I was getting annoyed. I started walking over to her and said, "Excuse me," but she just turned around and started walking away. Actually, the speed at which she was walking away for someone at her age was unsettling.
Kill it. It's a demon. It's Satan.
I almost felt concern at the possibility that she may have been somebody with special needs that needed help, but
She's special, alright, but I don't think it's in that kind of way.
I didn't convince myself to go chasing after her. I just leaned on the edge of the bridge for a few minutes before deciding to turn back. I had already been hiking for about 45 minutes, and it would take another 45 to get back down to the car. Walking back down the trail I came, in the direction that woman had gone, I passed a younger woman walking her dog. So I decided to stop her and ask if she'd seen an older woman pass by. She said no, and just trying to make conversation about it, talk to somebody about it, I told her how I kept seeing that woman popping out of nowhere and looking at me, then just walking off. She laughed and said that's really strange. I didn't want to take up too much of her time, so after we both shared a laugh about it, I continued on my way. The entire way down the trail, I grew a bit paranoid that I'd see that woman lurking around in the background somewhere again,
Lock
but
this
all
bitch
was
up.
quiet on the way down. I passed
Is
one
she in
other
your car?
person who gave me a friendly smile and a nod. Other than that, I made it back to my car undisturbed.
Howdy.
Later that day, I went on a date with a girl I was seeing there. We went to our favorite local bar to get some pumpkin spice beers and watch baseball. I told her about the woman on the trail.
Not a fan
she
of
found
baseball.
it amusing, because honestly it did sound funny. After that, I went home. Fast forward to that night when I was in bed. I hardly ever wake up in the middle of the night. I'm a pretty heavy sleeper normally, so me waking up in the middle of the night in the dark was unusual. I was still coming to when I heard something at the foot of my bed. I looked up and saw the figure of a woman at the foot of my bed. I felt as though my insides had just fallen out of my body. I started screaming so loud that I'm sure my neighbors could have heard it, even with the windows closed. I started crawling against my headboard, trying to distance myself as much as possible from the female
Fuck
figure
that.
at the foot
Kill
of my
this
bed.
bitch.
Then she just turned and walked out of the room.
Is it a
I
ghost?
stopped screaming now, more so trying to just catch my breath and slow my rapidly beating heart. I flicked on the lamp and started shouting, "Who's there?" I listened, but there was dead silence. I grabbed the knife I had in the nightstand next to my bed and jumped out of bed. I flicked on every light switch I passed until the entire apartment was lit up. There was no one there.
Getting itchy.
Not in the closets, not behind a couch, not under any beds, and so I called my father. I didn't know what else to do. I needed to share what
Daddy?
just happened with somebody.
Well, you
My
look
father
underneath my
groggily picked
bed.
up the phone, and after explaining to him, he said I must have hallucinated it while I was still in my half-asleep state. He said I wasn't fully awake yet, and so I could have been seeing things. I knew deep down he was probably right, but it didn't make the image I saw any less real-looking or horrifying. And then I told him about the woman in the park, and how the figure at my bed actually resembled her. He said, if anything, that further proves his point that my brain conjured up a familiar image from earlier that day.
You got a point.
Somehow, I went back to sleep that night, with my bedroom door barricaded with my dresser just in case.
Was she still
It
in
wasn't
your bedroom?
until 2
You
days
just locked
later
yourself
that I
in there
heard
with
from my
her.
mom that her sister in Germany died. I'd never met my aunt. She'd been basically estranged from my mom.
So it was a ghost.
She hadn't left Germany in over 25 years. My mom and uncle flew to Germany to attend the funeral, and it wasn't until she got back home and I saw the prayer card with my aunt's face on it that once again I felt like my organs dropped out of my body when I realized she looked identical to the woman I saw on the trail that day and hallucinated at the foot of my bed. This story shook my whole family, especially because I told my dad about all of it and the hallucination before we even got news of my aunt's passing. I was born a Catholic, but never found myself to be super religious after confirmation. But goddamn, does this really send shivers down my spine and make me question what exactly I believe in.
Da-da-da-da-do. Da-da-da-da-do. That'd be like, oh, sweet baby Jesus.
My friend Carlos and I like to do stupid things together.
Carlos!
We've been friends since we were 10, and when we were 21, we became roommates. We lived in Brunswick, Georgia, where we grew up. A little coastal
fuck's
town that had its
Brunswick,
pros and
Georgia?
cons, but overall was an okay place to grow up. But it got boring as we entered our 20s. Anyway,
like it.
that's neither here nor there. While we did live there, we knew about a creepy-looking house that differed from the rest of the houses in town, in that it looked like it was built in a different century. It had long been abandoned, and we and our friends would make up stories about its history.
Okay.
It was mid-October, and everyone was in Halloween mode. People were doing Halloween-themed activities like haunted houses and corn mazes and such. We thought it would be fun one Friday night to go break into that house and explore. So after we were both home from our
Probably a
jobs,
bad idea,
we
bro.
both grabbed baseball bats to bring with us, stopped for some fast food and beers on the way, and drove to the house.
Hold my beer.
We
Got
parked
you.
all the way down the road, just not to be suspicious. The houses around there were not that close together, so each property was pretty big, which meant we were less likely to get caught snooping around. We both grabbed a couple beers each and threw them in our backpacks. Not sure why we thought we were going to drink in there, but along with that, we stuffed our baseball bats into the sides, just so no one would see us walking around with baseball bats in our hands late at night looking like trouble. We quietly walked down the street, just whispering to each other. It took less than 5 minutes to get to the house. It was so dark on this part of the street because this house, along with the house across the street, had no lights on. There weren't any streetlights on the street. Whatever light there may have been would have had to come from one of the few houses with their lights on. From here on, we used our flashlights we brought. The front lawn had a bunch of dirt patches, and the patches of grass were overgrown. Lots of weeds everywhere, it seemed. We
Okay.
walked around to the backyard to look for an
Typical
entry
abandoned
point,
building.
because doing that out front seemed stupid for obvious reasons. Shockingly, the back door was already unlocked. The place
Go
wasn't
figure.
boarded up or anything. The back windows weren't even smashed. We knew that the place was abandoned, though. Everybody did. We walked right in. Navigating inside of there would have been impossible had it not been for our flashlights.
But what if it's not abandoned? What if it's just like one of those people that you can't leave their house? Whatever the shit it's called, I don't fucking remember. But you have those people that just they can't leave their house or anything like that. So maybe it's one of those people. They just live there and never leave. They get Walmart orders. They get their medicine delivered. They've never been anywhere to hire someone to cut the grass, so it just looks like shit. Like I forget what it's called.
The house was bigger than some of the neighboring houses, yet the inside felt very cramped. Like there were a lot of rooms, but they were smaller, almost giving the house a maze-like feeling. Carlos stepped into another room away from me, and at that moment I was alone. I heard his voice say from another room, "Yo, there's still furniture everywhere." I responded, "Yeah, this place must have been abandoned in a hurry." Everything seemed ancient, like furniture in my grandma's house, only not used in years. I walked around the first floor some more, and came to a tiny corridor with a few doors that led to bedrooms. I entered one of the bedrooms, and it was incredibly cramped. The bed took up 80% of the room. I went through some of the drawers in the dresser, but they all seemed like they'd already been gone through. Same with the closet. Anything left behind besides this old furniture just looked like junk. I heard Carlos say he's going upstairs. I said back, okay.
Getting itchy.
We were speaking at a volume that was just loud enough for each of us to hear.
Gotcha.
Checking out the other bedroom down on the first floor, which was equally...
Once again, I am so sorry for the yawns. I've said in many videos, I promise I will explain what's actually going on, why I've been so tired, and like I've said before, I will probably put that video up on my Discord. So if you haven't already, go over and check it out. I'll let you all know when I put it up. I'm not comfortable doing it right now at this moment, but hopefully before too much longer, I'll feel better about making a video about it.
Cramped. I went back out to the corridor. There were two other doors, one that led to a bathroom, and then when I opened the final door, I was looking down a long stairway to a basement. I decided, fuck it, I'm walking down. I started descending the steps, each step squeaking and cracking under my weight. I got about halfway down the steps when I realized there was a faint glow coming from down there. I turned off my flashlight, and yes, there was still a little faint glow coming from down there. I should have turned and left in that moment like any normal person.
Yeah.
But I do stupid things. Like I die first in a horror movie, most likely. I continued down the stairs with my flashlight off.
I'm not. I'm going to tell you why, because as soon as shit starts popping up, I'm in the car and I'm driving away. Unless it's like some Final Destination shit that's going to like kill me, like just the weirdest way possible driving away. I'm going to live. It's not that I'm a coward. It's not that I'm scared. It's just that I like being alive.
And when I got to the bottom, I looked around the walls separating the stairs from the rest of the basement, and I saw what was just barely lighting up the room. It was two tall candles sitting on a table, but that wasn't the first thing I noticed. What I saw first was what was next to that, and it was some kind of sofa rocking chair, and it was rocking. Someone was seated in it. It was facing away from the stairway. All I could see was a hand on one of the arms of the chair. I had to get out of there. I started going back up the stairs as quietly as I could, with each crack and squeak causing me to cringe in fear. I was halfway up the stairs now.
Now, see, okay, here's my one problem. If I would have stayed there and I'd been in that situation, I would have started getting a little nervous. And whenever I get nervous, I get defensive. Is that... All I know is, like, I'd be like, hey, who are you? Why are you here? Do you live here? Like, if this is your house, I am very sorry I'm here. Hello, do you need help? Do you need assistance? You know, I would have said something. That's why I know, and when things start getting real, I just need to leave, because if not, I'm going to do something stupid, because I'm stupid. Any of y'all who've watched this channel long enough realize it's like, oh yeah, Bill's dumb. I'm fine with it. I've been like that my whole life. But I don't know. It's like whenever I start to get nervous or scared, I get really brave. It's a horrible combination to be scared and brave at the same time. It's like, oh God, oh God. Hey, can I help you? This is not my house, but is it yours? Do you know how to fucking talk? Stop ignoring me, motherfucker. That's it. I'm coming down there. And then I'm dead. And that's going to be in my booty hole. I'm not bright.
Looked back down and could still see the faint glow of the candles, so I continued as quietly as I could. I was almost to the top, and one stair creaked especially loud. I paused for a moment, clenching my teeth so hard.
The chair
Proceeded up the
no
final steps and made it to the top. I turned to shut the door, but I noticed it was pitch black down there now.
Oh,
The thought of the candles having been put out sent a shiver down my spine. I quietly closed the door, and then I tiptoed around this cramped maze of a house until I found the stairway going upstairs. I stood at the bottom of the stairs and quietly called up to Carlos. He wasn't responding. I sighed and started quietly going up the stairs, repeating Carlos's name.
Carlos
Still
is
no
dead.
response. I had to go all the way up to the top of the stairs, repeating his name, and he
Carlos.
still wouldn't respond.
Fuck Carlos.
So I said, if you're trying to scare me, stop joking around. There's someone in
dead.
the basement. We need to get out of here.
He's fucking dead.
That got his attention because he stepped out from a dark room and asked if I was serious. I told him I'd explain outside, but that I'm not kidding. He followed me down the stairs. I was trying less so to be quiet now because I just wanted to get out of that house. We were heading back to the back door where we entered, but when we passed the corridor with the basement door, we both saw the silhouette of a man standing in front of the door. The time for sneaking around was over. I kept repeating just go as we booked it outside and ran for my car.
Face.
We made it to the car in like 30 seconds. I was already winded by the time we made it back. I backed the car off that street and started driving us home. In the car ride was when I explained in detail what I saw. All Carlos kept saying was, yo, what the fuck, to everything I said.
Bro?
He was in just as much disbelief as me. So
Bro,
while no, I don't
disbelief.
think anyone legally lived in that house, I do think someone was squatting in there, down in that basement. Who knows who it was? Honestly, who cares? I just never returned anywhere near that street.
Just no shit. Hell yeah. That was good. All right. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Like, damn. I swear I would have done this. I'd never seen it. Like, it never popped up into like the For You shit or anything. I literally had to go looking for it. I had to go into videos and start like looking for it. I thought I was going to just have to type it in. And if I'm mistaken, they mentioned something about the Halloween one too. I think we're going to save that one for a little bit closer to actual Halloween, which isn't much further away now. Like we're over halfway there. Yeah. All right. I really enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed today's video as much as I did. And if you did, go down there and slap that subscribe button, poke that thumbs up, dinger that bell, do all that great, wonderful stuffs. Yeah. All right. If you all enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please go down there and ding that bell. If you want to know when all this stuff happens, you know, that's the best way to do it. I don't do lives. I do premieres. That way I get to actually talk to you guys. I enjoy talking to you. So if there's ever a time where you want to jump in on one of my premieres, go over in the live chat and talk to me, please do. The reason why I don't do lives is because my internet is really just shit. I have Armstrong and it ain't worth a fuck. But one day when my rich uncle gets out the whorehouse, I'll get good internet. Yeah. All right. Hopefully y'all enjoyed today's video as much as I did. If you did, please go down there, leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. While you're down there going over, slap the subscribe button, become part of the B5 Nation. We do some crazy stuff here. And if you want to know when that crazy stuff happens, ding that bell and turn on all notifications. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Hey, you kids, get off my lawn.